Hey everyone, and welcome to Comic Breakdown. If you're new to the page, be sure to give us a like and a sub so you don't miss any of the content we have coming out. And today we're going to be continuing our indie comic weekends. So this is a new segment we've been setting aside every weekend to go over any indie comic I can get my hands on. And last week we started a story arc that's being published by Y Comics, and it's called Kinetic Potential. You know, we got a little bit of a backstory on our hero in this last issue, and it really told us, you know, how he got his powers, or at least the understanding of how his powers work. You know, he's a kid on the south side, and they have a superhero in their town, but he really hasn't been paying much attention to his side of town, and felt like he needed to step up after his brother was attacked by a villain that goes by the name of Gentleman Killer. So without further ado, let's dive into this issue. So diving into this one, we see the local news on the TV, and it's going over the events of the Ascender, the city's sworn protector, and he pretty much took down some bank robbers before the cops were even able to get there, like he was on the scene. And then the news is also covering an individual that's in a red hooded cloak, and he seems to be a new vigilante that's hitting the scene. And then we see the channels start to flip and change, and we're met with a hospital bed, and this is Jimmy. So Jimmy is the brother of Kinetic, and he went and tried to fight these bad guys that were trying to hurt these girls, and in doing so he got himself hurt. And we honestly thought that he was dead in the last issue. And then he asks where his brother is. And we pick up with him riding his motorcycle through town and literally asking anybody and everybody if they've seen the Gentleman Killer, the one that hurt his brother. He pulls up to a homeless guy, you know, he asks him. So it just shows, like, to the extent he's trying to hunt this guy down. He doesn't have any clues, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just going. And before he takes off from this homeless man, he sees a group of men come up to him, and they really start antagonizing him and bothering him. You know, they seem to be some thugs that are pimps for prostitutes. And this homeless man's working on the wrong corner. And then they turn around and they see Kinetic. And his immediate question is, has any of you lowlives seen the Gentleman Killer? Like, because that's all he's really thinking about. Yeah, he wants to stop this crime from happening, and, you know, these guys really trying to hurt this guy. So, you know, he's trying to do something good, but at the same time, you know, he wants his answers. And who else would know where the Gentleman Killer is than, you know, lowlife scum? And as soon as he walks up to these guys, it's almost immediately brawl status. And these guys start duking it out, but we really see how undertrained Kinetic is. Like, he really doesn't know what he's doing. He's getting beat up, and he has these superpowers that are really one of the more powerful things that you could wield as a superhuman. But he has no idea how to use these powers. He doesn't even know how to fight. So he is just getting his butt wrung. And while he's getting beat up, he gets knocked to the ground, and it looks like he's about to get murdered by one of these guys. And this is when we see the red cloak jump down, and they start beating the crap out of these guys together. And our red cloaked friend, you know, he's like, no offense, kid, but you need to quit. Like, I just pretty much had to save your life, and you were supposed to be a hero. You're supposed to be a vigilante. What are you doing? Like, this is the most unimpressive thing I've ever seen. You know, you're taking down these small, low-life criminals, but what you really need to be doing is following the money. Because if you follow the money, you're going to find the big guys, the ones that are actually making all the issues that are in the city. And then he gets a phone call, and he takes off. Just like that, he was gone. And he's just still left standing there like, oh, like dang, what am I actually doing? Now, we pick up a little bit later with his friend Michelle, and he seems to be sewing probably Kevlar or something like that to help his suit. And they're just having, you know, a little discussion, a little back and forth conversation here. And she lets him know that she developed a tiny little speaker that goes in his ear and really is almost undetectable and very clear on the audio aspect. And so we're kind of building his team up, you know, we're seeing Michelle's more than likely going to end up being the tech girl, you know what I mean? The person that's at home base trying to help him out a little bit. Kind of like Alfred and Batman, if you will, or Jarvis and Iron Man. And this is when he gets a holler from outside. and they meet the new hire that their family had hired. And she, at first, she's like really like just really rude, kind of dismissive, but it's more of her banter. It seems to be more of her personality, not necessarily that she's intentionally being rude. And they also have a gentleman out there who, he was just out there buying a sofa, and they help him load it off, and they're like, all right, see you later, Mr. Harrison, blah, 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 blah. And so we're really just building right now. This is all character building. We're really starting to get to know who Jimmy and Johnny are. We're finding out who Kinetic is. We're finding out how this city works, how many vigilantes are in this city, what's going on. And then we cut over to later on that night, and Kinetic goes to visit his brother in the hospital, and they sit down and they have a conversation, and Jimmy tells him, like little brother, you're not a fighter. Like, you haven't fought in your whole life. You've never actually been in a real fight. You're the kid on the south side who always kept his head down, stayed away from the trouble, and that's okay. That's not you. You're not a hero. And he realizes this. He knows this. He knows he's weak. He's always kept his head down, but that's not the person he wants to be anymore. After this, he wants to be the hero. He wants to be the vigilante. This is what is going to drive him to be the person that he needs to be. And as he's leaving the hospital, we see Harrison, the man who was picking up a sofa from his family's store, take off the red cloak and ask Johnny if he wants to make some change. And that will be where this issue ends. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. They introduce Harrison here in a very nonchalant way a little bit before with the sofa and all that thing. So it was kind of cool that we know he's trying to figure out who Kinetic is. Like, he already knows who he is. And so he was just doing his due diligence. He was making sure that this guy wasn't just some, punk with superpowers, essentially. Or like the Ascender, who just doesn't help everybody, he just helps certain aspects of the city. We're really understanding that Kinetic isn't a hero. At the end of the day, he is just a guy who has superpowers and saw something bad happen. Now, with that, we could see him wanting to become more. He's already said that, not anymore. I'm done being weak. I'm done being the guy who kept his head down. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do what needs to get done. And so hopefully in the next coming issues, we're really going to see him start to train. We're going to see him become the hero that he needs to be able to protect this city. And I really have a feeling that the Ascender is a front, a fake. I think it's more publicity than anything else. Or maybe he's getting paid by the bad guys. Who knows? But it doesn't seem like the Ascender is going to be a good guy in the end here. But yeah, with that being said, be sure to like and subscribe to the page. And if you guys haven't yet already, go check out Kinetic. It is currently in Kickstarter. It is going to be the continuation following this story arc. It will be Kinetic Identities. As well as check out in the description, I'll leave a link so you guys can check out Kinetic Potential. And until the next video.